Hey everybody, you're very welcome to our weekly garden video. Myself and Ryan are here this morning, and this week we said we'd have a look at effective watering because of the weather we've been having. So when to water your plants, how to water your plants, that sort of thing. People do get a little bit confused as what's the best, most appropriate ways to do it. So I'm going to just have a quick chat about plants in the ground, and Ryan's going to go through containerized planting. So just with plants in the ground, I suppose there's a couple of things you need to think about. If you have well-established plants, say something like this hydrangea, it's been in the ground for a couple of years, it will probably be okay by itself. The ones you'd really want to concentrate on are something that was planted bare root during the winter, or if you have raised beds. So the bare root ones, they probably just won't have established enough of a root system. So say something like laurel, which will be commonly planted bare root. Now obviously it's in a pot here, but if you've planted something like this in a hedge, you may need to put down a seeper hose. That would be the easiest way to do it. You could go along and water them individually, but a seeper hose would be the easiest way. And then a raised bed. Lots of people will have raised beds in their garden, so it's just an area raised up with topsoil, but they can be very, very drying because it's built up ground. It's not natural ground, shall we say. So those areas would need to be looked at as well. When to water them, generally I would say early morning, very early morning before the sun is up, or early evening is probably a little bit more convenient. And you'd say early evening just because if you do it really late at night, so people think if I do it late at night it's great, they can soak in overnight. The problem then you will have is you can get a lot of fungus problems with your plants. So where to water the plant? Generally there was this belief years ago that if you hit the leaves that you will scorch them. That's sort of being disregarded now, other than if you have a plant with hairy leaves, it can be a problem. But really still the best way to do it is try getting to the base of the plant, right in here, and that just gives it the best chance to soak it all up. And then the last thing I would say is underwatering. Underwatering can nearly be as big a problem as overwatering, so if you underwater you're just sort of splashing it around the place, and that sort of makes a plant less drought tolerant, so that can be a problem too. So if you're going to do it, if you're going to water plants that are in the ground, just water them thoroughly. Preferably you'd have relatively good drainage, because if you overwater, then what you will see happening is plants will start to droop down like this. So they won't wither, but they will start to droop, bend their heads, and that can be a problem. So it's a fine line, but it's fairly basic really. Now Ryan is going to have a chat about containers there.
All right, so because of the fabulous weather that we've been having, the heat definitely gets to the containers a lot quicker. They tend to dry out a lot faster, so you basically would end up watering them, or at least checking them in need to be watered every day. Now, in order to check them, you can either just put your finger in, probably at 3 centimeters, a little over an inch. So if you go in between your first knuckle and your second knuckle, and you put that in the soil, and you can see this one's okay. So the other trick of the trade is to, if you have access to safely be able to hold the pot, just kind of give it a little bit of a lift, and if it's very light, definitely need some water. If it's still got a little bit of weight to it, you're quite okay. And also the other way, Liam also talked about it, but I'm going to reiterate, time of day. Same thing for containers. Early in the morning is the best time. Also early evening, not too late, because also same thing, fungus loves a wet, dark environment. So fungus will be very, very happy in something like that. We want to try to avoid. The other thing you can try to do is put them together if you want. If you group them together, if it's an extremely hot day, they'll kind of shade each other out, and that'll kind of protect them for a short while if the heat is very extreme. One of the other ways also is to just put it in dapple shade. That's totally fine. If it's most of the time in full shade, in full sun, sorry, it's okay to go ahead and move it somewhere else and just hang it in a more less sunny spot. And I believe that's everything I have. Back to you, Liam.
Cool, thanks a million. We're pretty much going to leave it there today anyway, but I was told today was our 10th video, so as is our tent video, we decided we would do these hanging baskets this weekend for €10. So they're really, really nice, great colour, petunias, bacopa, there's busy lizzies in there. So you get great colour out of them from now on to the end of the season. So that's it, thanks a million, see you next week.